Have you ever been scrolling through the morning news and you see a headline about a massive cyber attack?
Oh, yeah, like a major city's hospital system held for ransom.
Exactly.
Right.
Or, a global corporation waking up to find all their customer data has just been stolen. We see those headlines all the time.
Constantly.
But have you ever stopped to wonder who is actually sitting behind the screens, fighting off those hackers 24/7? Why? Trying to stop the bleeding.
Right, the actual human beings doing the work.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We were thrilled to have you with us. Today, our mission is to give you a shortcut to understanding the inner workings of cybersecurity defense. We want to take you completely behind the curtain without drowning you in technical jargon.
And to guide us on this journey, we have a phenomenal roadmap today. We are pulling insights from a highly detailed masterclass put together by Adarsh Pandey. It's titled The SOC Analyst Ultimate Learning Cheat Sheet.
It's quite the document.
It really is. It is essentially a comprehensive blueprint for anyone wanting to truly understand or even join the front lines of digital defense. It lays out the exact tools, the intense pressure, and the specific strategies used by the people protecting our data.
Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with that acronym, SOC. SOC. What are we actually talking about here?
Right, so in the industry, a SOC is a Security Operations Center.
Security Operations Center, got it.
You can think of it as the centralized nervous system of an organization. It's the command center that continuously monitors, prevents, and responds to cyber incidents. It is where the defense actually happens.
Yep.
That definition is crucial because of what it implies about the environment. An SOC is not just a dark room full of blinking servers and, advanced technology.
Not just the hacker in a hoodie typing really fast.
Exactly. It is a highly complex ecosystem. It relies on a delicate balance of people, processes, and tools, all working together in absolute synchronization. If you buy the most expensive security software in the world, but you have broken processes for how to use it, you lose. If you have brilliant people, but terrible tools, you lose. It's a living, breathing, operational environment.
So let's talk about those people. The cast of characters inside this ecosystem. The structure of a SOC team actually reminds me a lot of a hospital emergency room.
That is a really great way to look at it.
Because at the very front line, you have your Tier 1 analysts. They are the triage nurses of the digital world.
Yes.
They do the continuous alert monitoring and the initial investigations. They are the ones constantly watching the radar for incoming missiles.
Exactly. And when a Tier 1 analyst spots something that looks like a genuine threat, they escalate it to the Tier 2 analysts.
The doctors.
Right, these are like your attending doctors. They perform deep investigations, correlation analysis, and they handle the actual incident response to stop the attack.
Okay, so Tier 1 spots it, Tier 2 fights it.
Yes, and above them, you have the Tier 3 analysts or engineers. These are the specialized surgeons. They are the heavy hitters doing advanced threat hunting, proactively searching the network for hidden enemies.
Wow.
Yeah, and developing custom detection rules for the most complex incidents.
It doesn't stop there either, does it? You have highly specialized roles supporting that tiered structure.
You do.
Think about forensic analysts. They act almost exactly like digital crime scene investigators. They come in after an event to collect and analyze digital evidence for legal or post-mortem purposes.
And then you have threat intelligence analysts.
Right.
Their whole job is to study the bad guys globally. What new tools are the hacking cartels using this week? They gather that intelligence and feed it back to the SOC so the defenders know exactly what to look for.
It is a massive operation.
Wow.
But it's worth noting that these operations don't all look the same. Not every company has a literal NASA-style control room in their corporate basement.
Definitely not. Organizations build different operational models based on their budget and needs.
Yeah.
An in-house SOC is built and operated entirely by the company itself. But many organizations use an MSST, that's a managed security service provider.
Yeah.
That is a fully outsourced model. It's like hiring a highly trained private security firm rather than building your own internal police force.
That makes sense for smaller companies.
Absolutely. You also see virtual SOCs, which are globally distributed teams working remotely without a central physical facility. And then there's SecOps, or Security as a Service, which is entirely hosted in the cloud. The physical location might change, but the mission to protect the organization remains identical.
To accomplish that mission, the foundational knowledge required for these analysts is honestly staggering. To even get a foot in the door An analyst needs a rock-solid understanding of the CIA triad.
And no, we aren't talking about the intelligence agency.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
In cybersecurity, CIA stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
Right.
Confidentiality means only the right people can see the data. Integrity means the data hasn't been secretly altered. And availability means the systems are actually up and running when you need them.
Right. If a hacker launches a massive attack that simply knocks a hospital's website offline, they haven't stolen anything.
But they've compromised the availability pillar.
Exactly, which is still a major crisis. And beyond that triad, analysts have to master network fundamentals. They have to understand TCP/IP protocols.
Which is essentially understanding the complex postal system of the internet, right? How packets of data are routed and delivered.
Yes, exactly. And increasingly, they must be experts in cloud service models.
Right. The acronyms for the cloud can get overwhelming fast. IaaS, PaaS, and SOS.
They really can.
But the way I like to think about it is like housing, IaaS, or infrastructure as a service, is like renting an empty plot of land and the utility hookups. You have to build and secure the house yourself.
Good analogy.
PaaS, platform as a service, is like renting a fully built house, but you have to bring your own furniture and secure the doors. And SaaS, software as a service, is like staying in a fully staffed, fully furnished hotel.
Perfect.
A SOC analyst has to understand the security vulnerabilities of all three of those environments simultaneously.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, all of these foundational skills, the networking, the cloud knowledge, are just building blocks for a modern security philosophy called zero trust.
Zero trust.
In the old days, cybersecurity was like a castle with a moat. If you made it past the moat, you were trusted inside the castle.
Right.
Zero trust assumes the network is already compromised. No user and no device is trusted by default, even if they're already inside the building.
Okay.
To build that kind of architecture, a SOC analyst has to combine their network knowledge with heavy programming and scripting skills. They use languages like Python, PowerShell, and Bash to write scripts that constantly verify identities, automate data parsing, and enforce strict access controls.
So, if the team is in place and the knowledge base is solid, what is the actual game plan when the alarm bells start ringing? You don't want a room full of people just running around panicking and unplugging servers.
No, you definitely don't.
That's where incident response frameworks come in. The industry largely relies on two major playbooks for a crisis: NIST and SANS. NIST outlines a four-step life cycle: preparation, detection and analysis, containment, eradication, recovery, that's all one step, and finally, post-incident activity.
And if you look at the SANS incident response process, it breaks things down into 6 steps. You have preparation, identification, containment, eradication, recovery, and lessons learned.
Okay.
While they slice the pie slightly differently, there is a profound similarity between the two that tells you everything you need to know about cybersecurity.
Which is?
Both frameworks heavily prioritize the very first step, preparation, and the very last step, lessons learned. The actual firefight, the containment of the hacker, is just the messy middle. The real work that determines whether a company survives an attack happens before the breach ever occurs, and after it's been contained, by studying the forensic evidence to ensure it never happens again.
Preparation is absolutely vital, especially because when an incident is live, these teams are fighting against a terrifying ticking clock.
Absolutely terrifying.
In the industry, they classify these emergencies into strict severity levels to know exactly how fast that clock is ticking. These are governed by SLAs, or service level agreements. Let me give you an example.
Please do.
If an event is classified as critical, meaning an active ransomware deployment or ongoing data exfiltration, the team requires an immediate response in under 30 minutes.
Think about the immense pressure of that 30-minute window. A critical alert flashes on your screen. In half an hour, you have to identify the threat, prove it is actually real, figure out how far it has spread, and begin coordinating a defensive response across potentially thousands of network devices worldwide.
You do not have time to hesitate.
None at all.
Wait, 30 minutes to stop a global ransomware attack from locking down an entire corporation? That sounds impossible.
It does. Even a high-severity event, like a targeted phishing campaign trying to harvest executive passwords, demands a response in under 2 hours.
2 hours?
Yes. Only low-severity events, like an employee violating a routine internet policy, give the team a little breathing room with a 24-hour response window.
Here's where it gets really interesting. How do they actually execute a response in 30 minutes without making a mistake that crashes the company's own network? I would assume step 1 is to just shut the compromised computer down immediately.
That's what most people think. But actually, they rely on a rigorous alert triage methodology. It's a precise 5-step process.
Okay.
Step 1 is receive and document. Step 2 is validate. You have to prove it's a real threat before you pull the plug on a critical business server.
Right, because taking a server offline could cost the company millions.
Exactly. Step 3 is investigate, gathering the logs and building a timeline. Step 4 is analyze the impact to see what data is at risk. And step 5 is escalate or resolve.
And to do all of that at lightning speed, analysts rely on the true brain of the SOC, a tool called the SIEM.
To SIM.
That stands for Security Information and Event Management System. You can think of a SIEM as the ultimate security camera control room that is also simultaneously reading every single logbook, badge swipe, and file transfer in the entire global company at light speed.
It's incredible technology.
It really is. It ingests all that data and correlates it to detect anomalous behavior. You might hear about commercial SIEM platforms like Splunk or IBM QR, or open source ones like the ELK stack, which is a combination of tools that essentially acts as a massive vacuum cleaner for data, organizing millions of logs instantly so the analyst can search them.
But as powerful as the SIM is, it has a major flaw. It brings us to the absolute bane of an analyst's existence.
False positives.
Exactly, false positives. A false positive is when the SAM screams that there is a critical nation-state attack happening, but it turns out to just be Bob from accounting trying to reset his password 15 times in a row because he forgot his dog's name.
Oh, Bob.
Right. False positives are incredibly dangerous. If analysts are bombarded with thousands of fake alarms every shift, they develop alert fatigue. They become numb to the alarms, and that is exactly when a real hacker slips through.
The math on preventing that fatigue is fascinating. A healthy, well-functioning SOC aggressively tunes its detection rules to keep the false positive rate under 30%.
That's the goal.
And even more importantly, they try to cap the alert volume to under 100 alerts per analyst per day. That is the threshold to ensure each alert gets proper attention and the analyst's brain doesn't just melt.
And even with a manageable number of alerts, investigating them requires deep detective work. When analysts are digging into an alert, they aren't just looking at IP addresses, they use a specific investigation checklist. For example, they look closely at parent and child process relationships.
Right, which is basically looking at the family tree of a computer program. If you open your calculator app, that's perfectly normal. But if the SOC analyst sees that the calculator app suddenly spawned a hidden command prompt that started deleting files, that is highly suspicious.
Very.
The parent process is innocent, but the child process is malicious.
Precisely. They are also checking for lateral movement. Once an attacker breaks through the front door of one computer, they usually try to crawl through the digital air vents to reach the servers where the real data is kept. Analysts are hunting for those movements.
What else is on the checklist?
They are also searching for persistence mechanisms. Hackers are sneaky. Once they get in, they want to make sure they stay in. They will leave behind backdoor keys or hidden scripts so that even if the IT team reboots the infected server, the hacker's connection is automatically reestablished.
To know what to look for on that checklist, analysts rely heavily on threat intelligence. The source material breaks this down beautifully into 4 distinct categories.
Yes, it does.
You have strategic intel, which is high-level trend information like telling the CEO, hey, attacks on the financial sector are up 20% this quarter.
Then you have tactical intel. This focuses on TTP's tactics, techniques, and procedures. If we use a true crime analogy, TTPs are the burglar's signature MO, for instance, knowing that a specific hacker group always cuts the alarm wire and enters through the skylight.
Right. Then you move down to operational intel, which details the specific ongoing campaigns happening right now. And finally, you have technical intel. This provides specific indicators of compromise, or IOCs.
IOCs.
If TTPs are the burglar's overall strategy, IOCs are the exact fingerprints or the specific license plate of the getaway car. An IOC could be a known malicious IP address or specific digital fingerprint of a virus file. Analysts can plug those exact fingerprints directly into their SIEM, and if that license plate ever drives past their network, the alarms instantly go off.
Let's actually ground this in reality. How does all this theory apply to the actual nightmares a company faces?
Yeah, let's look at that.
The document outlines specific detection strategies for real-world attack patterns, and it is fascinating. Let's take phishing.
We all know phishing is bad.
Right, but analysts aren't just sitting there looking for typos in an email. They are analyzing massive email gateway logs, looking for complex link redirection chains. Attackers will route a click through 5 different hidden websites before landing on a fake logging page designed to steal credentials, and the analyst has to untangle that chain.
Or consider ransomware. The absolute panic of a ransomware attack is that it encrypts all the company's files and demands payment. How do you catch it before it locks everything down?
It's a race.
Analysts look for very specific technical behaviors. One of the most devious things ransomware does first is called a volume shadow copy deletion,
Right.
which is basically the attacker quietly destroying the computer's built-in backup system before they launch the main attack, right? That is terrifying.
It is deeply malicious. If they destroy the backups, the company has no choice but to pay the ransom. SOC analysts detect this by meticulously reviewing PowerShell script logs, looking for the exact command that attempts to delete those shadow copies. If they spot it, they kill the process instantly.
Then you have insider threats, which require a totally different approach. This is an employee going rogue, or an employee whose account has been completely compromised.
You can't just look for malware here.
Exactly. Analysts use complex user behavior analytics. They look at the psychology and the patterns. Is an employee in human resources suddenly using excessive administrative privileges? Are they initiating mass file transfers of sensitive company data at 3 in the morning on a Sunday?
And if an attacker, whether an insider or an external hacker, is trying to actually steal the data, analysts have to catch the data exfiltration. One of the sneakiest ways hackers do this is through DNS tunneling.
Let's explain that one, because it sounds like pure sci-fi.
It really does.
DNS is the system that translates a website name into an IP address so your computer can connect to it. It is standard, necessary internet traffic. DNS tunneling is essentially an attacker sneaking stolen data out the front door by disguising it as normal internet address requests.
It's wild.
It would be like a corporate spy hiding stolen blueprints by writing the secrets in the margins of thousands of regular outgoing requests for a phone book. To the security guard at the door, it just looks like normal outgoing mail.
Yeah.
SOC analysts have to monitor proxy logs to catch that exact kind of disguised traffic.
What's fascinating here is how the defenders ensure they aren't missing any of these tricks. With so many different ways to be attacked, how do you ensure you don't have a blind spot?
That's the big question.
The industry standard for this is the MITRE E8TT&CK framework. It is essentially a globally accessible, constantly updated knowledge base of adversary tactics based on real-world observations. You can think of it as the periodic table of hacker behavior.
I love that analogy.
It's exactly how they use it. SOC teams take this periodic table and map it against their own SIEM detection rules. It allows them to visually identify their coverage gaps. If the MITRE framework shows that a known threat actor uses 20 specific techniques to break into a network, the SOC can go down the list and verify they have a specific alarm built for every single one of those 20 techniques.
But measuring whether they are actually successful at this ultimately comes down to hard numbers. A modern SOC is driven by key performance indicators, or KPIs. Two of the most critical metrics are MTTD and MTTC.
MTTD and MTTC.
Mean time to detect, which is essentially how long it takes from the moment the hacker slips through the window to the moment the SOC realizes they are in the building. The industry goal for MTTD is under 24 hours.
And then you have mean time to contain, the MTTC. Once you detect the fire, how long does it take to put it out and stop the attack? That should be under 4 hours.
Achieving those incredibly tight metrics requires intense focus, which brings us to a really crucial part of understanding this field, the human element.
The psychological toll of this job is immense. As we said earlier, you are essentially working in a high-stakes digital emergency room, often fighting invisible, highly funded adversaries. Burnout is a massive problem.
The source material actually provides strict guidelines on how to survive the career. It advises establishing very clear shift boundaries. When your shift is over, you have to disconnect entirely so you aren't taking the stress of a global cyber war home to your family.
It emphasizes the necessity of stepping away and taking breaks during high-stress incidents to maintain cognitive sharpness.
And the mechanism that allows them to step away is the shift handover report. This isn't just a casual chat at the water cooler. It is a highly structured, formal document used to seamlessly pass active incidents, notable alerts, and the status of the network from the outgoing team to the incoming team.
It ensures that not a single alert falls through the cracks, allowing the exhausted outgoing analyst to actually log off and sleep.
For those of you listening who hear all of this and are actually inspired to jump into the fray, there is a very clear professional development path. The standard advice is to start with foundational certifications like the CompTIA Security, plus to prove you understand the basic concepts.
As you advance, you move for technical specializations and eventually aim for top-tier certifications like the CISSP for leadership and advanced architectural skills.
But the absolute best piece of advice for building your skills right now: build a home lab.
Yes.
You don't need expensive corporate hardware. You can use virtualization platforms like VirtualBox to create isolated, safe computer environments on your own laptop. You can install open source tools like Wazoo to act as your own personal SIEM. You can actually detonate real malware in this simulated sandbox environment and practice hunting it down yourself.
So what does this all mean? We've talked about the tiers of analysts, the complex tools, the ticking clocks, and the intense burnout. But at the very end of Adarsh Pandey's cheat sheet, there is a section titled Motivational Corner that lays out the SOC analyst's creed.
It summarizes the entire monumental challenge of cybersecurity in one sentence. It reminds the defender, the adversary only has to be right once, but your team works every day to ensure they aren't.
That truly is the crux of it. It highlights the deeply asymmetric nature of cyber warfare. A hacker can try to breach a firewall 9,999 times and fail. But if they find one tiny flaw and succeed on the 10,000th try, they win. They get the data.
They only need to be right once.
Exactly. The SOC, on the other hand, has to be successful every single time. It requires a mindset of continuous learning, endless curiosity, and incredible persistence. Every alert is a puzzle. And even the annoying false positives are just learning opportunities to refine the defense.
It is a continuous journey of learning, and it gives us a profound appreciation for the people manning the digital walls while the rest of us sleep. We want to extend a huge thank you to the author of our source material today for laying out such a clear, comprehensive roadmap of the cybersecurity battlefield.
It really is a masterful document. But before we go, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, building on a brief mention of automation we saw in the research.
Let's hear it.
The industry is increasingly using AI and automation to handle routine, low-level alerts to prevent that analyst fatigue we talked about. Automation multiplies your impact, as the saying goes. But here is the paradox we are heading toward.
Okay.
If AI and automation completely take over all the entry-level Tier 1 triage work, how will the cybersecurity industry train the next generation of Tier 3 master threat hunters? Those advanced engineers traditionally built their intuition and cut their teeth by staring at thousands of those very same routine alerts. If we automate the training ground, where do our future experts come from?
That is a brilliant and slightly terrifying question to ponder as we watch this industry evolve. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you walk away with a newfound understanding of the incredible, complex ecosystem operating right behind your screens. Keep asking questions and stay curious.